The alarm bells rang through every corridor of the Celestia Prime Station. Ambassador Vex Thala's crystalline body pulsed with rapid flashes of orange light, a sign of deep concern among her species. She floated toward the central command chamber, her form catching and reflecting the emergency lights that painted the walls red. "What is the nature of this disturbance?" she asked as she entered the vast circular room. Dozens of different species stood at their stations, their faces showing expressions that all translated to the same emotion: fear. Commander Yulvan, a tall being with gray skin and 4 arms, gestured toward the main display screen. "Ambassador, we detected a massive energy signature at the edge of our space. Something just exited faster than light travel." Vexathala moved closer to the screen. The image showed a vessel, but not like any she had seen in her 300 years of service. It was enormous, roughly 2 kilometers long, with a design that seemed brutal and efficient. Sharp angles dominated its hull, and massive engine pods glowed with a blue-white energy that made her sensors strain. "Identify the vessel," she commanded. Yulvan's 4 hands moved across his console rapidly. "That is the problem, Ambassador. The ship's design does not match any known civilization in our database. The energy signature is completely unknown. It is raw, unrefined, and according to our readings, incredibly powerful." Another council member, a floating sphere of contained plasma named Thex, spoke up. "Could it be the Krell? Perhaps they have developed new technology." "Negative," Yulvan replied. "The Krell favor organic technology. This vessel uses fusion reactors and antimatter containment. The design philosophy is entirely different from anything we have encountered." Vexathala felt a chill run through her crystalline structure. In the known galaxy, every species followed certain patterns of technological development. They all discovered the same basic principles of faster-than-light travel. They all eventually joined the Galactic Council and shared knowledge. But this ship suggested something else entirely. Someone had reached the stars without following the normal path. "Deploy our defensive fleet," she ordered. "Maintain a safe distance, but be prepared for anything. Open a communication channel." The fleet of 30 Council warships moved into position, forming a defensive wall between the unknown vessel and the station. On the main screen, the strange ship continued its approach. Not slowing down, not deviating from its course. Then, the communication channel crackled to life. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Indomitable, representing the United Nations of Earth. We come in peace and request permission to dock for diplomatic discussions." The command center fell silent. Every being present knew the name Earth. It was in their databases as a small blue planet in a distant spiral arm of the galaxy. The species there, humans, were classified as primitive. They had barely developed nuclear technology the last time a survey probe passed through their system. That was only 80 years ago. "This is impossible," Thex said, his plasma core flickering rapidly. "The humans should not have faster-than-light travel for at least another 1,000 years if they survive that long." Vexthala studied the ship on the screen. The database was clear. 80 years ago, humans were fighting wars among themselves using chemical rockets and primitive aircraft. Now they had built this monster of a ship and crossed dozens of light years to reach Council space. "Open a response channel," she said quietly. "Channel open, Ambassador. Captain Chen, this is Ambassador Vexthala of the Galactic Council. Your presence here is unexpected. Our records indicate your species should not possess faster-than-light capability. Please explain how you achieved this technology." There was a pause. Then the human's voice returned, carrying a tone that Vexthala's translators interpreted as pride mixed with weariness. 53 years ago, a mining expedition on Mars discovered ruins. Ancient ruins left by a civilization we never knew existed. Within those ruins, we found data cores containing mathematical formulas and energy theories that changed everything we knew about physics. It took us 50 years of research, testing, and yes, some failures that cost lives. But we learned. We adapted. We built the Indomitable to carry our message to the stars. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community. Vexthala's light pulsed rapidly. Mars ruins. There were no records of any civilization in that system. Either the humans were lying, or something had been missed in the surveys. But looking at that massive ship, she doubted they were lying. "Captain Chen, your request for docking is granted. However, understand that your vessel will be surrounded by our defensive fleet at all times. Any aggressive action will be met with immediate response." "Understood, Ambassador. We expected nothing less. Indomitable is beginning docking procedures now. As the human ship moved closer, every sensor on the station tracked it. Scientists scrambled to analyze every piece of data they could gather. General Crathmore, the Council's chief military advisor, arrived in the command center with his security detail. "What are we dealing with?" he asked, his scaled face showing concern. Yulvan brought up a new display. "General, I ran combat simulations based on the ship's observed capabilities. The results are disturbing. That single vessel has firepower equivalent to 15 of our cruisers. Their armor is primitive but incredibly thick. Their weapons appear to be kinetic-based, using magnetic acceleration to fire solid projectiles at tremendous speeds." Crathmore's eyes widened. Kinetic weapons? No one has used such primitive technology in warfare for thousands of years. Particle beams and plasma weapons are far more efficient. "That may be true, General," Yulvan said, "but efficient and effective are not always the same thing. A solid projectile moving at a significant fraction of light speed carries enormous destructive potential. And according to these readings, they carry nuclear weapons as well." "Nuclear weapons," Crathmore repeated, his voice hollow. "They brought nuclear weapons to a diplomatic meeting." Vexthala watched the Indomitable slide into the docking bay. The ship dwarfed everything around it. Its hull bore scars and marks that suggested it had seen action, though against what she could not guess. "They are young," she said softly. "Young, dangerous, and now they are here. Whatever happens next, the galaxy has changed forever." The docking bay doors opened with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Ambassador Marcus Webb stepped through first, his polished diplomatic uniform a sharp contrast to the battle-worn hull of the Indomitable behind him. He was flanked by 6 human Marines in powered armor, their helmets reflecting the strange alien architecture around them. Vexithala waited in the center of the reception hall, surrounded by representatives from 24 different species. The humans walked forward with confident strides, their eyes taking in everything with an alertness that reminded her of predators. "Ambassador Vexithala," Webb said, extending his hand in the human gesture of greeting. "It is an honor to finally meet the Galactic Council. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I thank you for receiving us." Vexithala extended one of her crystalline appendages to touch his hand briefly. The human skin was warm, much warmer than most species she knew. "Ambassador Webb, your arrival has raised many questions. Please follow me to the council chambers where we can discuss your petition for recognition." As they walked through the station's corridors, Webb noticed the stares from passing aliens. Some looked curious, others fearful, and a few showed open hostility. His Marines maintained their formation, their weapons lowered but ready. The council chambers were massive, a circular room with seating arranged in tiers that rose toward a domed ceiling, displaying a holographic star map. Representatives from the major council races sat in their designated areas, their attention focused entirely on the human delegation. Webb took his position at the central podium. Behind him, a holographic display activated, showing images of Earth, its moon, and the red planet Mars. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Webb began, his voice carried by the translation systems to every being present. "Humanity comes before you not as conquerors or supplicants, but as neighbors seeking to establish peaceful relations. We know we are young compared to your ancient civilizations. We know our methods may seem crude or aggressive, but we have learned much in our short time and we have much to offer." Thex, the plasma being, interrupted. "You claim to have discovered ruins on Mars. Yet our surveys of your system showed no evidence of any previous civilization. How do you explain this?" Webb nodded to his aide, who activated another hologram. It showed a massive underground complex on Mars, buried beneath kilometers of rock and ice. The ruins were deep, deeper than any standard survey would penetrate. "We found them by accident during a mining operation. Inside, we discovered technology that opened our eyes to the true nature of the universe." "And how long did it take your species to develop faster-than-light capability after this discovery?" asked a reptilian council member named Sithrak. 50 years, Webb replied simply. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Vexithala raised an appendage for silence. 50 years? That is impossible. Most species require at least 500 years to fully understand the principles of FTL travel. Webb's expression hardened slightly. "Ambassador, humanity has faced extinction multiple times in our history. Ice ages, plagues, wars that killed millions. We learned to adapt quickly or die. When we found that ancient technology, we did not just study it. We threw everything we had at understanding it. Scientists worked themselves to exhaustion. Experimental ships were lost with all hands. We paid for our knowledge in blood and sacrifice, but we succeeded. He activated another hologram, this one showing a timeline of human history. Images flashed past. Ancient civilizations rising and falling. World wars, nuclear weapons, space stations, and finally the construction of the Indomitable. General Crathmore leaned forward in his seat. Your vessel, the Indomitable. It is not a warship, is it? No, General, Webb confirmed. It is a colony ship. We built it to carry 10,000 people and supplies to establish humanity's first settlement beyond our solar system. We converted it for diplomatic purposes when we detected Council transmissions and realized we were not alone. A colony ship with the firepower of 15 cruisers, Crathmore said flatly. Why would you arm a colony vessel so heavily? Webb met the general's gaze directly. Because space is dangerous, General. We did not know what we would encounter out here. Pirates, hostile aliens, rogue asteroids, spatial anomalies. We built the Indomitable to protect the precious cargo of human lives it carried. Every weapon, every armor plate, every defensive system exists for one purpose: survival. Vexathala studied the human ambassador carefully. His words rang with sincerity, but they also revealed something troubling. Humans expected danger. They prepared for conflict as a matter of course. This was not the mindset of a peaceful species. Ambassador Webb, she said carefully, your species has existed for approximately 200,000 years. The youngest member of the Galactic Council has existed for over 2 million years. We have learned through long experience that aggressive tendencies must be controlled, that warfare must be limited and regulated. Your history shows constant conflict. How can we trust that humanity will not bring this violence into Council space? Webb was silent for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was quieter but no less firm. Ambassador, I will not lie to you. Humanity has fought many wars. We have killed each other over land, resources, beliefs, and sometimes for no good reason at all. But we have also learned. Each war taught us the cost of conflict. Each peace treaty taught us the value of cooperation. We came to the stars not to escape our violent nature, but because we chose to rise above it. He gestured to the holographic Earth rotating slowly above them. That planet has 7 billion people living on it right now. Different cultures, different beliefs, different languages. For the first time in our history, we are united. Not because we are perfect, but because we looked up at the stars and realized we are all part of something bigger. We are not asking you to trust us blindly. We are asking for a chance to prove ourselves. The council members discussed among themselves in dozens of different languages. Finally, Vexathala spoke again. Ambassador Webb, the council appreciates your honesty. However, we must deny your petition for membership at this time. Your species is too young, too unstable. We require a period of observation, perhaps several hundred years, before we can consider formal recognition. Webb's jaw tightened. Several hundred years? Ambassador, with respect, humanity will not wait that long. We are already building more ships. We have identified 3 potential colony worlds within our reach, with or without council approval. We will expand into the galaxy. We would prefer to do so as partners with the council, but we will not be held back by bureaucracy. The chamber fell silent at the implied threat. Crathmore's hand moved to his sidearm before he caught himself. Webb continued, his voice calm but unyielding. I should also mention that the Indomitable is not Earth's only ship. We have begun construction on a full fleet. Within 5 years, we will have 50 vessels operational. Within 20 years, 200. We are not asking for permission to exist, Ambassador. We are informing you that we are here, and we will make our place among the stars. Vexathala felt her crystalline structure grow cold. The humans had revealed their true nature. They were not petitioners. They were a declaration. A storm that had arrived at the council's doorstep, and one way or another everything was about to change. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the diplomatic proceedings through a live feed. The talks had been ongoing for 3 days and tensions were rising. She could see it in Ambassador Webb's posture, hear it in the careful way the council representatives chose their words. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez called from the communications station. We are receiving an emergency broadcast on all frequencies. It is from a council mining colony designated as Outpost Meridian. Put it through. The main view screen flickered. showing a terrified alien face. The being was blue-skinned with large eyes that darted around frantically.
This is Outpost Meridian. We are under attack.
3 Krell battlecruisers have entered orbit and are bombarding the surface. We have civilian populations here.
Please, someone help us.
The transmission cut to static, then to images of destruction. Buildings collapsing under energy weapon fire. People running through smoke-filled streets. Children crying. Chen felt her blood run cold. Communications. Contact the Galactic Council immediately. Request permission to render assistance. Captain, her first officer, Commander Park, said quietly. The council chambers are in recess. It will take time to reconvene them and debate a response. Time those people do not have, Chen replied, her voice hard. She pulled up the tactical display. Outpost Meridian was 6 hours away at maximum FTL speed. The Krell battlecruisers were already there. The communication system chimed. Ambassador Webb's face appeared on a secondary screen. Captain, I know what you are thinking. The Council has denied our request to intervene. They say it is not our concern, that we are not members and have no authority in Council space. People are dying, Ambassador. I know, but if we act without permission, we could destroy any chance of future diplomatic relations. Chen stared at the images still playing on the main screen. Smoke rising from ruined buildings. Bodies in the streets. She had seen scenes like this before in human history. She had sworn when she joined the service that she would never stand by and watch such things happen again. Ambassador, she said slowly, with all due respect, we did not travel 40 light years to watch people die while committees debate. I am taking the Indomitable to Outpost Meridian. Captain, that is a direct violation of Council protocols. Then let them put me on trial after I save those civilians. Chen out. She closed the channel before Webb could respond and turned to her crew. All hands to battle stations. Engineering, I need everything you can give me from the FTL drives. Weapons, prepare all railguns and missile tubes. Marines, prep for possible boarding action. We are going to war. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as officers rushed to their stations. Alarms blared throughout the ship. In the habitation sections, civilians who had volunteered for the diplomatic mission were secured in emergency shelters deep within the vessel's armored core. FTL drive charging. The navigator reported. Course laid in for Outpost Meridian. Take us in, Chen ordered. Reality twisted around the Indomitable as it jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them on Celestia Prime Station, Ambassador Vexathala received the news with a mixture of shock and admiration. The humans had made their choice, and now everyone would see what they were truly capable of. 6 hours later, the Indomitable dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Outpost Meridian system. The tactical display immediately lit up with contacts. 3 massive vessels hung in orbit above the colony world, their weapons still firing at the surface. Captain, Rodriguez said, I am reading Krell battle cruisers, destroyer class. Each one is 2.5 kilometers long. They outmass us 3 to 1. Their weapons? Chen asked calmly. Plasma cannons and particle beams. Standard Krell loadout. They also have launch bays for fighter craft. Chen studied the tactical display. 3 enemy ships against 1. In any conventional engagement, the Indomitable would be hopelessly outmatched. But humanity had never been conventional. Helm, take us in at full burn. Weapons, target the lead battlecruiser. Load railguns with tungsten penetrators. Prepare nuclear-tipped missiles for launch on my command. Park moved closer to her command chair. Captain, are you sure about the nuclear option? The Council banned atomic weapons in space combat over 1,000 years ago. The Council denied us membership, Chen replied, which means we are not bound by their rules. And right now, those weapons are the most effective tools we have. Target their engines and reactor sections. I want precision strikes, not wide-area devastation. The Indomitable accelerated toward the Krell vessels like a bullet. On the planet below, survivors huddled in bunkers watched their sensors with desperate hope. The Krell battlecruisers detected the approaching ship and began to turn their weapons away from the planet. Enemy vessels are hailing us, Rodriguez reported. Let me hear it. A harsh, guttural voice filled the bridge. The translation software rendered it in English. Unknown vessel, you are interfering in Krell Dominion operations. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. Chen leaned forward in her chair. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Indomitable. You are attacking a civilian colony. Cease your bombardment immediately and withdraw, or I will consider you hostile combatants. There was a pause. Then the Krell voice returned, this time with what the translator interpreted as amusement. Earth? We have no record of this species. You dare to challenge 3 battle cruisers with a single ship? Your foolishness will be your death. We will see, Chen said quietly. All weapons fire at will. The Indomitable's railguns opened up first. Tungsten slugs, each weighing several tons, were accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed by magnetic fields running the length of the ship. They crossed the distance to the nearest Krell battlecruiser in seconds and slammed into its shields with tremendous force. The Krell shields held, but just barely. Warning lights flashed on Krell bridges as power systems strained. They had never encountered kinetic weapons with such velocity. Energy shields were designed to deflect plasma and particle beams, not solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. Launch missiles, Chen commanded. 6 nuclear-tipped missiles streaked from the Indomitable's launch tubes. The Krell point defense systems opened fire, destroying 4 of them before they reached their targets. But 2 got through. They detonated against the lead battlecruiser's shields in brilliant flashes of nuclear fire. The shields collapsed. The Krell vessel's armor, designed to resist energy weapons, offered little protection against the raw kinetic and thermal force of a nuclear explosion. Sections of the hull buckled and tore away. Atmosphere vented into space. Direct hit, Park reported. Enemy vessel's main reactor is destabilizing. They are losing power across all systems. Target the second ship, Chen ordered. Continue firing. The battle had only just begun, but already the Krell were learning a harsh lesson. Humanity might be young, might be primitive by galactic standards, but they were also survivors. And survivors fought with every weapon at their disposal, no matter how brutal or outdated the rest of the galaxy considered them to be. The second Krell battlecruiser opened fire with its plasma cannons. Superheated matter streaked across space toward the Indomitable. The human ship's shields absorbed the first volley, but Chen could feel the deck shudder under her feet. Shields at 70%, Park reported. Evasive maneuvers. Keep us moving. Target their weapons arrays with the railguns. The Indomitable twisted and turned, its powerful engines pushing it through space in patterns no Krell commander had ever seen before. Human pilots trained in atmospheric combat where every movement mattered brought that same aggressive maneuvering to space warfare. More tungsten slugs hammered into the second battlecruiser. One railgun shot penetrated the weakened shields and punched clean through the ship's hull, entering through the bow and exiting near the stern. The battlecruiser shuddered and began to list as its maneuvering systems failed. Marines, Chen called over the intercom. Prepare for boarding action. We are going to take that ship. The dropships launched from the Indomitable's hangar bays like angry hornets leaving a nest. Each carried 20 Marines in full combat armor, weapons locked and loaded, faces set with grim determination. Sergeant Major Kate Morrison led the first squad, her helmet display showing the layout of the Krell battlecruiser they were about to board. Listen up, she barked over the squad channel. Krell fight in rigid formations. They expect enemies to do the same. We are not going to give them that satisfaction. Hit hard, hit fast, move constantly. Remember your training. Watch your corners. Cover your squad mates. And most importantly, come back alive. Earth needs every one of you. The dropship shuddered as it passed through the expanding debris field left by the destroyed lead battlecruiser. Morrison watched through the forward viewports as they approached the damaged second vessel. Sections of its hull were torn open, venting atmosphere and bodies into the void. 30 seconds to breach, the pilot called. Morrison checked her weapon one last time. Standard assault rifle modified for space combat, with explosive rounds designed to work in zero atmosphere. On her hip, a combat knife forged from titanium. Old-fashioned, perhaps, but she trusted steel more than fancy energy weapons. The dropship slammed into the Krell hull, its magnetic clamps locking on with a solid clang. Cutting torches activated, burning through the alien metal in seconds. Then the breach was open and Morrison was through, her squad following behind her. They emerged into a corridor filled with smoke and emergency lighting. Krell warriors were already rushing toward them, tall reptilian beings in dark armor carrying plasma rifles. Morrison's squad opened fire without hesitation. The sound of gunfire echoed through the ship as human and Krell weapons exchanged fire. The Krell fought bravely, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity before. Marines moved in pairs, covering each other, using the environment for protection. They threw grenades around corners, flanked enemy positions, and showed no mercy to those who threatened them. Morrison's squad pushed deeper into the ship, fighting through compartment after compartment. They found crew members trying to repair critical systems and neutralized them. They destroyed weapons arrays from the inside. They were a virus infecting the Krell vessel, and they were winning. Back on the Indomitable's bridge, Captain Chen watched the tactical display as her Marines spread through the enemy ship. The third Krell battlecruiser had pulled back, clearly uncertain how to deal with this new threat. "Captain," Rodriguez called out, "the third battlecruiser is charging weapons. I think they are going to try to destroy their own damaged ship to kill our Marines." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Not on my watch. Target their weapons arrays. Everything we have, fire." The Indomitable unleashed a devastating barrage. Railguns, missiles, and point defense lasers all focused on the third battlecruiser. The Krell ship's shields flared and collapsed under the concentrated fire. Explosions rippled across its hull as weapon systems were destroyed one by one. "Ceasefire," Chen ordered as the last weapon array went dark. "Helm, bring us alongside." "Rodriguez, hail them." The Krell commander's face appeared on screen, his reptilian features twisted with rage and something that might have been fear. "You fight without honor, using nuclear weapons, boarding our ships like pirates. You are barbarians." Chen leaned forward. "Commander, you attacked a civilian colony. You killed innocent people. Where is the honor in that? Your ship is crippled. Your fleet is broken. Surrender now and I will allow you to leave with your life. The Krell Dominion does not surrender to primitives." "Then you will die a fool," Chen replied coldly. She cut the transmission and turned to her weapons officer. "Target their bridge, one shot. Make it count." A single tungsten slug streaked across the void and punched through the Krell battlecruiser's armored bridge section. There was a brief flash of escaping atmosphere, and then the ship went dark, its commander dead along with his senior staff. On the damaged second battlecruiser, Morrison's squad reached the engine room. They placed demolition charges on the reactor containment systems and began their withdrawal. "All squads, this is Morrison. Charges are set. Fall back to extraction points. We have 3 minutes." The Marines fought their way back through the ship, now facing disorganized resistance from shocked and demoralized Krell warriors. They reached their dropships and launched just as the charges detonated. The battlecruiser's reactor went critical, tearing the vessel apart from the inside. As the dropships returned to the Indomitable, the third Krell battlecruiser activated its FTL drive and fled the system. The battle was over. Humanity had won. On the surface of Outpost Meridian, colonists emerged from their shelters to see the wreckage of the Krell fleet floating in orbit. They had been saved, but they had no idea who their saviors were. Chen activated the communication system. "Outpost Meridian, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Indomitable. Medical teams are standing by to provide assistance. We will remain in orbit until Council reinforcements arrive." The response came quickly, a mix of gratitude and confusion. "Captain Chen, we do not know your species, but you have saved thousands of lives today. How can we ever repay you?" "No payment necessary," Chen replied. "We did what anyone should do when innocent people are in danger. We helped." News of the battle spread across the galactic network at the speed of light. On Celestia Prime, the Council convened an emergency session. Representatives argued and debated, some calling for humanity's immediate expulsion from Council space, others demanding they be welcomed as heroes. Ambassador Vexathala watched the recordings of the battle with something approaching awe. The humans had fought 3 battlecruisers and won. They had used tactics the galaxy had not seen in millennia. They had saved a colony the Council's own forces could not have reached in time. Ambassador Webb stood before the Council, his expression carefully neutral. "Honorable members, Captain Chen acted on her own authority to save innocent lives. The Galactic Council may not recognize Earth as a member, but we will not stand idle while people suffer and die. We came to the stars to be part of something greater. If that means fighting to protect the innocent, then so be it." General Krathmore stepped forward. "Ambassador Webb, your Captain Chen violated numerous Council regulations. She used banned weapons, engaged in unauthorized military action, and destroyed 2 Krell battlecruisers. The Dominion will consider this an act of war." "Let them," Webb replied firmly. "Earth did not start this fight, but we will finish it if we must." In a private chamber away from the main Council floor, Vexthala met with a small group of younger races, species who had grown frustrated with the Council's slow, bureaucratic nature. A cat-like being named Threx spoke first. The humans did in hours what would have taken us weeks of committee meetings and diplomatic exchanges. While we debated, they acted. While we worried about protocols, they saved lives. They are dangerous, another representative said. Unpredictable, perhaps, Vexthala agreed. But they are also effective. And right now, effectiveness is what we need. The Krell have been pushing against our borders for 500 years. Every year they grow bolder. Every year we lose more colonies because our response time is too slow, too hindered by regulations and old agreements. She looked at the others in the room. I propose we approach the humans privately, not as official council representatives, but as individuals seeking assistance. The council as a whole may not be ready to accept them, but some of us see the value they bring. Threx nodded slowly. You are suggesting an alliance outside official channels. I am suggesting we give humanity a chance to prove they are more than just warriors. We show them we need them, and in return they help us break the stalemate with the Krell. The group exchanged glances. Finally, one by one, they nodded in agreement. The decision was made. Humanity would have its allies, even if those allies had to work in secret. Above Outpost Meridian, Captain Chen watched the last of the medical shuttles return to her ship. The colony was secure. The wounded were being treated. And somewhere out in the darkness of space, the Krell were learning that humanity was not to be trifled with. She thought about Earth, 40 light-years away. About the billions of people there who were counting on her to make first contact successful. She had just started an interstellar incident that could lead to war. But she had also saved thousands of lives. Given the choice again, she would make the same decision every single time. 3 weeks after the Battle of Outpost Meridian, Earth's communication networks exploded with activity. Every news channel broadcast the same images. The Indomitables' combat footage, interviews with saved colonists, and analysis from military experts who could barely believe what they were seeing. Humanity had fought its first battle against alien forces and won decisively. In the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Secretary General Elena Vasquez addressed an emergency session of the General Assembly. The Galactic Council has responded to our victory with silence. Some council members praise Captain Chen's actions. Others demand we withdraw from their space immediately. But one thing has become clear. We cannot rely on the Council for protection or recognition. We must be prepared to stand on our own. The Assembly voted unanimously to accelerate the fleet construction initiative. Shipyards in Earth orbit on the Moon and in the asteroid belt went into overdrive. Resources were allocated. Personnel were trained. Humanity was building an armada. Admiral James Kutcher, a veteran of Earth's last major conflict, was placed in command of the First Fleet. He stood in the bridge simulator, running battle scenarios against theoretical Krell formations. When the orders came through, the Krell Dominion had issued a formal declaration. Humanity was to be considered an enemy of the state, and any human vessels found in Krell territory would be destroyed on sight. Kutcher read the message twice, then called his staff officers together. The Krell have made their intentions clear. We are at war, whether we wanted it or not. How soon can the fleet be ready for deployment? 6 weeks, sir, his chief of staff replied. We will have 42 vessels operational by then, mostly frigates and destroyers with the dreadnought Defiance as our flagship. Then we have 6 weeks to train for the fight of our lives, Kutcher said. Get me the best combat pilots, the most experienced Marines, and every tactical genius we can find. When we launch, I want Earth's first fleet to be the most dangerous fighting force the galaxy has ever seen. On Celestia Prime, Ambassador Vexthala received a secret message from her Krell intelligence contacts. The Dominion was mobilizing. Not just a few battlecruisers this time, but a full invasion fleet. 200 warships commanded by Supreme Admiral Krekthar himself. Their target, the Celestial Gate, the strategic choke point that protected the heart of Council space. If the gate fell, dozens of core worlds would be exposed. The Council would be forced to surrender or face extinction. And based on current defense projections, the Council fleet did not have the strength to hold. Vexthala made a decision that would have gotten her expelled from the Council if discovered. She contacted Ambassador Webb through private channels. They met in a neutral location, a small trading post far from prying eyes. Ambassador Webb, Vexthala said without preamble, the Krell are coming. In 8 weeks they will attack the Celestial Gate with overwhelming force. The Council's defensive fleet will not be enough to stop them. Webb's expression remained calm, but she could see the calculations running behind his eyes. What do you need from us? Your fleet, your tactics, your willingness to fight. The younger council races have formed an unofficial coalition. We want to invite humanity to join us not as servants or mercenaries but as equals. Help us stop the Krell, and we will push for your formal recognition in the council. And if the council refuses to recognize us even after we save them, Vexithala's crystalline body pulsed with a color Webb's translator interpreted as determination. Then we will form our own council, one that values action over endless debate, one that welcomes those who stand up for the innocent, regardless of their age or origin. Webb extended his hand. You have a deal, Ambassador. Earth's first fleet will be at the Celestial Gate when the Krell arrive. 8 weeks later, the Krell invasion fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of the Celestial Gate system. Supreme Admiral Krekthar stood on his flagship's bridge, surveying the Council's defensive formation with satisfaction. 150 Council warships hung in space before the gate, arranged in traditional defensive patterns. They are predictable, Krekthar said to his second-in-command. Send in the first wave. We will overwhelm their flanks and break their formation. Then the gate will fall and the Council with it. The Krell fleet advanced, their ships moving in perfect geometric formations. Energy weapons charged, fighter craft launched. The battle for the Celestial Gate had begun. The Council fleet fought bravely. Their particle beams and plasma cannons lit up the darkness of space. Ships maneuvered into optimal firing positions. Defensive shields flared under enemy fire, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Slowly, inevitably, the Krell pushed forward. On the Council flagship, Admiral Yenthar of the Thex species watched his tactical display with growing despair. His fleet was being torn apart. In another hour, maybe two, the battle would be lost. Then the sensors detected something new. A massive wave of FTL signatures appearing behind the Krell fleet. 50 ships dropped into normal space, their weapons already hot and ready. Earth's first fleet had arrived. The dreadnought Defiance led the charge, Admiral Kutcher standing on its bridge with his command staff around him. The ship was a monster, 3 kilometers long, bristling with railguns and missile launchers. Behind it came frigates, destroyers, and cruisers, each one carrying the lessons learned from the Indomitables' battle. Kutcher opened a broadcast on all frequencies. Attention all vessels. This is Admiral James Kutcher of Earth's First Fleet. To the Galactic Council forces, you are not alone. To the Krell Dominion, you picked the wrong fight. All human ships weapons free. Let's show them what Earth is made of. The human fleet hit the Krell formation like a hammer striking glass. Railguns fired tungsten penetrators that punched through shields and armor. Nuclear missiles detonated in brilliant flashes. Human ships moved with aggressive, unpredictable patterns that broke up Krell formations. Supreme Admiral Krekthar watched in shock as his carefully planned attack dissolved into chaos. These humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They sacrificed their shields to close into point-blank range. They used their ships as battering rams when ammunition ran low. They showed no fear, no hesitation. All ships, he commanded, target the human flagship. Concentrate all fire on the dreadnought. Kill it and break their morale. Dozens of Krell battlecruisers turned their weapons on the Defiance. The dreadnought's shields blazed under the concentrated assault, flickering and failing, but Kutcher did not order a retreat. Instead, he pushed forward, diving straight into the heart of the Krell formation. Target their command ship, he ordered calmly. Load the main railgun with our last tungsten penetrator. Let's make this shot count. The Defiance's primary weapon, a railgun that ran nearly the entire length of the ship, charged to maximum power. The single tungsten slug it held weighed 10 tons and would be accelerated to nearly 20% the speed of light. When it fired, the recoil would likely damage the Defiance's own structure. Fire, Kutcher commanded. The slug left the railgun with a flash of electromagnetic discharge. It crossed the distance to Krekthar's flagship in less than a second. The Krell Admiral had time for one brief moment of understanding before the penetrator struck his ship's bridge section and passed completely through the vessel, exiting out the stern. The Krell command ship exploded in a cascade of secondary detonations. Krekthar and his entire command staff died instantly. The Krell fleet, suddenly leaderless and facing an enemy that should have been broken but instead kept fighting, lost its cohesion. Captain Sarah Chen, commanding a destroyer in the Earth fleet, broadcast a message to the surviving Krell vessels. Your admiral is dead. Your formation is broken. Retreat now and live to see another day. Stay and die. The choice is yours. One by one, the Krell ships activated their FTL drives and fled. The battle was over. The Celestial Gate had been saved. As the combined Council and human fleet regrouped, assessing damage and losses, Ambassador Vex Thala stood before the full Galactic Council in an emergency session. The recording of the battle played on screens throughout the chamber. "Honored members," she said, her voice carrying to every representative, "we have witnessed something remarkable. Humanity, a species we dismissed as too young and too dangerous, has saved us. They asked for nothing in return. They simply stood with us when we needed them most. The question before us now is simple. Do we continue to deny them recognition, or do we admit that we need them as much as they need us?" The vote was not unanimous. Some council members still feared humanity's aggressive nature, but the majority voted in favor. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities that entailed. On Earth, celebrations erupted in every city. Humanity had taken its place among the stars. They had proven themselves not through words but through action. They had shown that being young did not mean being weak, and that sometimes the willingness to fight was the only thing that prevented tragedy. Admiral Kutcher stood on the bridge of the damaged Defiance, looking out at the fleet around him. Human ships worked alongside alien vessels, repairing damage, recovering survivors, and tending to the wounded. For the first time in history, humans and aliens stood as equals. Ambassador Webb's final speech to the Council was broadcast across the galaxy. "We did not come to the stars seeking glory or conquest. We came seeking connection, purpose, and the chance to be part of something greater than ourselves. Today we prove that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons or our ships. It is our refusal to abandon those who need us. It is our determination to stand against injustice no matter the cost. We are here, we are ready, and we will never stop fighting for what is right." And in the silence that followed his words, in that moment of understanding between species separated by millions of years of evolution, the galaxy changed forever. Humanity had arrived and nothing would ever be the same.